Good afternoon. Today we are going to do an in the hoop top zipper purse 3-piece applique. I have my cutaway stabilizer with my vinyl and applique. I like to use cutaway. It gives it more stability. So I have that hooped and it will do the placement stitch for the zipper. Okay, as you can see, it's did the placement for the purse and for the zipper. Now, between the top and the bottom, you need to make sure your zipper is centered. Doesn't matter if it's over it, it just needs to make sure it's centered. This is going to be the tack downs here, but it needs to be centered between that line and that line. Okay, the top and the bottom line. Center it and then tape it in place. Once your zipper is taped in place, send it over the machine and it'll do the tack down stitch. Okay, once it's tacked the zipper down, you want to turn your hoop over to tape your lining fabric on. Okay, and your lining fabric is going to go face down. If it's directional, it's going to go up here, and you want to tape it along this stitch line, the bottom line right there. Tape it there and leave it up like that the rest when you put it on the machine. It needs to stay up like this. I'll show you over there on the machine, because what it's going to do, it's going to stitch it down on this side. So you want to keep your fabric, like, I don't know if you want to tape, I just let mine hang. So keep it up here, it'll stitch it down, then it'll go through the rest of the steps. It'll stay up here, out of the way, until after your design is stitched here. Okay, see, it's stitched it down, right there, stitched it, but we're going to leave it up like this. And as I said, you can just, however you want to keep it out of the way, you can roll it up and then just tape it here so it's out of the way. Okay, however you want. Typically, I don't even tape mine, but I'm just showing you options. Okay, now it's going to go do the placement stitch for this side right here. Okay, it's did my placement line. I'm going to take my vinyl and make sure I'm 1/2 inch at least over this side. This side doesn't matter because we're going to trim it. So I'm going to take this, put it like this. It's 1/2 inch over. I'm going to go tack it down. Okay, it's tacked this down, and I went ahead and did the placement stitch for this side. I'm just going to show you when you trim it, you leave the bottom and the sides. You're just going to trim the middle here. Come on. I have this the wrong way for me. There we go. Okay, we'll trim that. And you trim the top here. Okay. There you go. Okay, and those, you do not trim the side here and you do not trim the bottom. Okay, now I'll put this piece of vinyl over here and send that over the machine to stitch, making sure it's 1/2 inch over here and at least 1/2 inch on the bottom. Okay, now let's tack that down, and I'm going to trim it as well. Just the top, I mean. And the middle. Next, it's going to do a placement stitch for the middle section. Not that you really need a placement stitch, because obviously it's going to go there, but it's going to do one anyway. Then I'll put my center vinyl on. Okay, it's did the placement, and this is why I like poly mesh or cutaway, because there's so many stitches for a bag. Tearaway just, to me, just doesn't get it. Okay, I have my piece of vinyl here for the center. Make sure it's at least 1/2 inch over the bottom. The top and sides don't matter because we're going to trim it. So I'm going to put my vinyl right there. And yeah, I know I waste a lot of vinyl. Okay, there you go. Okay, let's tack my vinyl down. Now I'm going to trim it. As you see, I didn't bother to put a stitch down at the bottom because we already know it's the bottom. So now I'm just going to trim this, and then I'll send it back over to the machine to do the satin trim here. Okay, you don't trim the bottom. I trim the sides and the top. Now I'll do the satin stitch. Okay, as you can see, it's did my satin trim. And now it started my design, but I stopped it so you could see. Now I'll do my design there. Okay, now the design has finished designing, or stitching I should say. Now we're gonna take this fabric, we're gonna flip this over, and we're gonna tape it down because now it's gonna stitch this down, okay? So I like to make sure this seam right there, that edge is tight, or that fold is tight. So tape it down like that. Somewhere I have tape left over. I like to pull it snug. And make sure, I should have said this earlier, you need at least 1.5 inch overhang from the bottom of the design of your lining for when you turn it. Okay? Alright, so there, that's all taped in place. And now I'm going to go stitch that stitch down. Okay, it's did this stitch around there to hold the lining down. Okay, there you go. And now, I think it also did the placement stitches for the handle. I'm going to unzip my zipper now so I don't forget. And I am going to tape that down so it doesn't move out of the way or get in the way. Okay. Now I'm going to tape my vinyl. I have a piece about 3 inches long, folded in half. It all depends on how far above your purse you want it to stick. I just like little ones, so I'm going to line it up. Here's my placement stitch right there. I'll line it up right at the edge of my satin stitch right there, and about a 1/2 inch from the corner, or from the side I should say. Okay, here's the other one. Do the same thing, fold it in half, line it up here, put it about a 1/2 inch from the edge, tape it in place, send it over to the machine, do the tack down. Okay, it's tacked those down. Now I want an outside back pocket, okay? So I have my piece of vinyl. It needs to be, of course, below that stitch line. I just like mine, and it has to be at least a 1/2 inch over there. There is no real size measurement that you have to have. It's all preference. And it goes printed side up. I mean, printed side down, but if it's directional, the top needs to be at the top. So I'm going to put it here over this, and I'm going to make sure it's even. So the pocket on the back's even, like that, okay, and there's my pocket, and it'll stitch down at the same time my vinyl. Here's my piece of vinyl, okay, this is my vinyl. Well, I have to move this for a second to see which way it has to go this way, right? Yep, okay, let's try this one more time, okay, put that there, line up there, there's my vinyl. And your vinyl goes face down over top of this. And then send it over to the machine to do this tack down. Okay, it's did a full stitch around of the purse, a triple stitch. Now we're going to turn it over so we can put the other piece of lining. And it's going to go face down with the fabric up top, the top at the top, and it needs to hang over at least 1.5 inches at the bottom for turning. So here we go. I'm going to just tape this, make sure I'm within all my lines there, or inside my stitch lines. Tape this. I will have measurements on the actual design for all these, like I do on my other bags. Okay, all right, now I'm going to go do the final stitch. Okay, it's did the final stitch. for the lining. As you can see, it leaves the opening. So now I'm going to remove it from the hoop. First I'm going to remove all this tape everywhere. And set it, stick it somewhere else. So it's not in my way, so I can remove it from the hoop. And then trim it. I just don't want it stuck to my hoop, okay? Let's take it out of the hoop. Aside. Set that aside. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to trim it, and I trim mine about between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, 3/8 all the way around, except at the bottom. I'll show you what you do down there, okay? So first we'll start at the top, and we'll just do the trim. Take this, your lining, and move it out of the way and cut the bottom. Okay, cut all the fabric except the lining. Okay, the vinyl or whatever you use. Once again, about 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. Just don't get that. There we go. Cut that. This doesn't really have to be that long. Just about, I like it a good inch, inch and a half in length. Okay, so cut this in an angle to the opening, and this side the same. Okay, then the rest of this just gets trimmed around the sides. Okay, like that. Same over here. Okay. So way there. Okay, now I like to go around my edges and make my little cuts. Just make sure you don't cut into the sometimes depends on how much vinyl I use. I like to use a tip like that, but I have too much vinyl. I need to get some new scissors. I think my daughter has some that her son got her for Christmas, and every time I'm there I think I'm gonna look at them so I can get me some, and I forget. So I clip all these around at the corners too, so I can turn it right side out. Okay, now I'm gonna take, there's the opening. Take my fingers and just start cramming it up like that. Okay, so as I turn this right side out, I'm gonna stop it. Okay, here we go. Now here's my paintbrush. Push all the corners or the round edges and everything out and about. Okay. So, and then your lining, you're just going to tuck in like this. I prefer to glue mine. I have my Wonder Clips here, and I have some fabric glue. So, I just take, and you can see your seam line. That's a line. Sometimes the vinyl's hard to get under there. So, but it's the inside bottom of the bag, so it's not like make or break. So I like to glue it. And I do it in little stages, like. Take my Wonder Clip and clip it. And I'll do the same over here. Okay, as my glue dries, I take this opportunity to cut my cutaway stabilizer from where the zipper is, and be careful you don't cut your lining. I just slide my scissors. Usually it slides pretty easy. Sometimes it's awkward to hold though, so we just slide this down and or cut it like so. And just get it all trimmed up there. The corner. I always forget that you can't see when I pull it close to me like that. Up here. Well, you got the idea. Just cut this out. It's probably because I'm on camera. That's why it's being so difficult. Okay, I've got that all cut out. There's the inside of my bag. Haven't turned it right side out. Giving that a second to dry a little more. Okay, I think it's dry enough. So I removed my Wonder Clips. Now I'm going to turn it right side out. Make sure you go between, if you put a back pocket, between the pocket and the design. Don't try going there because that's not right. And just kind of crunch it up. Use your finger and thumb. Push it in. Turn it, shove it under there. Like so. Different vinyls turn right side out different than other vinyls. You know, some are good, some aren't so good. These are both pretty good. This is marine vinyl. This is vinyl I got from Glitterbug Fairy. Little name drop in there. She has some cute designs, cute styles, but I like this doggy one. I'm making this for my sister. She's a big Snoopy fan. So, there we go. Okay, there's that. Turn this up. Okay. Poke my corners out. There we go. I'll put, I think maybe this color. And these came from the Crazy Craft Lady, tccraftlady.com. That looks like it might match that well enough. And I'll attach them with rings. And there you go. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to show you. Okay, I'm going to put the hardware on, or the hardware I have on, but I'm going to put my snap tab. Okay, I don't have any little doggy bones, so looks like I'm going to use a flower. But depending on the vinyl, I like to take an extra piece of fabric or vinyl and poke it through and use it so there's a pull tab like, so it would go in like, whoops, like this. And then I like to trim the edges so it doesn't show around my cam snap. Okay, and then put it through there, and then I fold this one under as well, depending on how big of a you want. Then I snap it. You know, then I attach this on it. Okay, I just like, as I said, sometimes these vinyls are kind of thin and sometimes they're not. This one is pretty good, so, but I still like the little snap, or the little pull tab, I mean. Okay, so it looks like that. Oh, how cute is that? Okay, so now what I do is I press that in so I can see the indentation, and unzip that. And then I poke my hole, make sure my lining's pressed down, and then I'll put a hole. Oops, sorry. Oh, now look at that. My indentation went away. Let's try that one more time. Okay, so we know I want the center of that. My lining's down. And I always put the smaller on the side that's going to pull open. Okay? All right, so now we'll put this here. And then the other half of my cam snap there. Then I will there we go. There. Now you have it. See, there's the snap. This is a good little outside pocket for your phone and stuff for easy access. Okay, once again, thank you. Bye-bye.